Yo, Sheep Blaster, and I've been meditating, doing yoga, like mindfulness activities, not using my phone, like social media and stuff. I've been doing this for like a year now, and you know, this might come as like, this might be like one of those videos that's like, oh, I did this thing for 30 days, here's what happened. Well, I've been doing this for like almost a year now, very consistently, I gotta say, and I've gotta say my life has completely changed. Obviously, like, a lot of things can happen in a year, a lot of things can change in a year, especially if you were set in motion to change things. Like, if your goal is to change things, like you were this way a year ago and you want to change so that you're no longer this thing, like you want to grow, you want to improve stuff in your life. And meditating every day, almost, or doing yoga, some kind of like mindfulness activity where I just have a couple minutes where I just sit there, I focus on one thing, I'm mindful and present and aware of the current situation that I'm in. It's been really good, obviously. Stress levels are really low, even in times of high stress. For example, literally moving halfway across the world, from Thailand to the UK, which is where I am now. That time in my life was quite stress-free. It wasn't even that long ago, it was like 3 weeks ago that I moved. And some things happened, like, oh, you know, I lost a 300-pound camera, like quite a good expensive camera, like I left it in the taxi, and I just lost it. I guess that's kind of on me. And you know, I've been taking L's like that, big fat L's, and every time it happens I don't feel so terrible about it. Like, my life isn't so terrible that it's like, oh, like that thing would have pushed me over the edge. Like 2 years ago I would have been completely demotivated, I would have been depressed, I would have been so upset just over losing a camera that was quite expensive. But you know, now it's like, I think, okay, I'm thinking positively about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, it might take me like a few months of saving up just so I can buy another camera, but that's fine. Like, sure, I've just, you know, lost several £100 worth of equipment, and you know, now I can't make super high quality videos, but I thought about it and it's like, okay, I've got my phone still, it works, it's got a really good camera. This is the front camera and it's really fucking good, and I haven't like changed the settings or anything, so it's really good. And on the back camera it's even better, it's pretty much professional quality, so I don't actually need that camera because it was so expensive. I would have been worried about losing it or it getting stolen anyway. Like, I probably would have lost it in the UK anyway, right? Someone would have mugged me. And so, like, taking these big fat L's, I don't feel so terrible about it. I could have been much worse off for it. It's like, okay, and there's so many strangers walking their dogs and they're like looking at me like, they're like it's so crazy, man. Nobody ever sees like some kid in the forest just with a phone camera talking to the camera, like, fucking hell. Oh my god, my trousers, holy shit. Anyways, yeah, so no more fat L's and it feels pretty good. I mean, my stress levels are really low. There was a time in like our life when everything was going like really just all over the place, but I felt quite good. Like, I was still like focusing on what needed to be done in the current moment, in the current day, and it's just really nice to be present as well. I now have this ability to be completely present with whoever I'm talking to. So for example, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I can actually like look them completely in the eye, like I'm doing now, and it doesn't feel so uncomfortable for me. And you know, I'm completely there, I am giving them 100% of my attention, and I think that's really, really valuable. I've read like 2 books on this, like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I started reading The Charisma Myth, but I've had to stop because I'm reading a different book now. but these two books basically said, like, if you can give someone your complete attention, they will notice that, they will appreciate that. Because if you are talking to someone and your mind is kind of wandering and you're thinking about what you're going to have for dinner or what you're going to do tomorrow, then they will see that. You might think that you can pretend to pay attention, but they'll see the location of where your mind is just based on like your very, very minor and small facial expressions, because we have like a thousand like little muscles in our body language, like in how we present ourselves. Like, you know, like the basics is like, oh, be big and wide for confidence, shoulders up, all that. And if you're hunched like this, then you're a little awkward twat. But it's like with body language, like people can see your body language just based on what you're feeling, what you're thinking, if you're uncomfortable or not, if like something is bothering you, like if your clothes are itchy and you feel that itch and it's uncomfortable and you can't scratch it, and you're talking to someone, you're gonna kind of show that on your face that you're uncomfortable, but because you're looking at that person, they're gonna think there's something wrong with them. They're gonna feel that or think that you don't like them. So being present with a person while talking to them is just really important, and I think it actually helped me get a job, which is where I've just come back from. But yeah, presence has just been really, really good for me, and it's just my way of life at this point. And there was a time when, there's always a time when I open my phone and I go on YouTube, for example, and I end up like scrolling for a bit, like not on YouTube Shorts, sometimes on YouTube Shorts, but sometimes just on the home feed, to like, if I see a video title that looks intriguing, I'm like, okay, I'll add that to my watch later, and I'll find a time specifically to watch it, which is quite helpful. I've not been like watching YouTube or wasting my time on any of that stuff. And I think this presence and mindfulness that I have created, or rather gained, has really helped me in battling and getting rid of a lot of addictions that I once had. Like, social media is an addiction. Like, it is 100% an addiction, and I have managed to completely eradicate it from my life. Like, when it comes to social media and using it, it's like I'm so mindful that, like, okay, if I watch this YouTube Shorts, it's possible that I'll end up scrolling, so I won't. Or, you know, I'll be scrolling and then I'll just stop and it will be fine. Like, I don't end up wasting like several hours, because it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to just spend a couple hours, and you know, you might think, oh, what's a couple hours today? Well, the problem is that you're going to spend a couple hours tomorrow, and then the day after, and then the day after that, and then you end up wasting several thousand hours just on your phone over like several years or something. That's a lot of time anyway. And so I literally like catch myself in the act, or even in my thoughts. It's like I think to myself like some like stupid thought, like, oh, I want some cookies, I want to, you know, I don't want to go outside to exercise, it's so cold. I stop myself in those stupid ass thoughts and I'm like, bro, do it. Or with the cookie thing, don't do it. I can literally like argue with my own brain, and it's just very helpful. So yeah, obviously I'm still learning about all this stuff. I'm still, you know, every day is like a new challenge or whatever they want to say, and this mindfulness and presence that I have now is really, really helpful and honestly life-changing. Like, my life is so different from a year ago. So I guess with that being said, I'll talk to you later. Peace.